my name is not on the bank account. I don't have a login. His business and our home bills are combined on the same account.
That's just, oh, people. His bills and the home business are on the same account. Can we have a worse of a wreck? Family, do you remember just a few days ago, we did that home business one? Yes, the horse. The husband who was working his tail off at a W-2 job, meaning he was working for pay for somebody else. Well, his wife had a quote unquote home business to be an Olympic equestrian. Look, we barely even a minute into this and it's already hitting disaster. What do we know about mixing the home business with non-home business? The two should never meet, right?
Which I know probably should not be that way.
No, Miss Ann in Pittsburgh. It's not probably. It mandatorily cannot be. It's not a choice. The IRS doesn't have I might mix my home business and my regular stuff. No, it is very clear line of demarcation there. It's not probably.
We have a home loan of about $243. If sold, it might be worth $700,000. The big problem I came to.
Okay, they have a home loan of $243,000. If they sold the house, I'm assuming she's saying it would be worth $700,000. The problem is the same problem everyone else has is where you're gonna go. Assuming that is your main residence, and it's not a secondary residence. Assuming that is your main residence, sure, you can sell it for $700,000. Where are you gonna go? I can sell the condo for $200,000. I purchased it and paid it off for $100,000. But where am I gonna go?
Realize is that our credit cards are at $209,000.
Wow. Okay. All right. I know what somebody would say. Breathe, Carrie. Breathe. I'm breathing.
Oh. We have a car loan for 21, and some of the credit cards are his business only. But as far as I'm aware, in certain states, your debt is your debt, and half debt and assets.
Yes, most marriages, what's accrued during the marriage, I think in every state, what's accrued during the marriage is 50-50.
So I guess I'm trying to figure out, I can't get through to him. He just blows up when I try to say, hey, let's try a budget. Hey, here's all the credit cards on an Excel spreadsheet that shows all the percentages.
Once again, even though we now have an idea as to what's going on, my question to you, family, as it is on almost every video, was this avoidable? Me says yes. This is a nightmare. And why does he blow up when she brings it up? Because he doesn't want to take accountability for the current state of financial affairs. Now, can we blame it all on him? No. Without hearing both sides, we can never completely blame it on one person. Because, folks, let's get real here, family, okay? There are people who ignore the problem, okay? Let's just keep this real simple here. You got a married couple, all right? One person, let's just designate it as the husband, okay? The husband, I'm not playing favorites or trying to be sexist. It's just a simple example. Don't overthink it, okay? The husband has been told, pay the bills. And then perhaps over the years, he's tried to tell the wife, things aren't working out. And the wife perhaps doesn't want to hear it. And then when he did try to tell her, she blew up at him, started blaming him. Well, that doesn't make him want to talk to you anymore, right? At least not about the bills. And then over the years, okay, as long as the monster doesn't rear its ugly head, the wife ignores it. And then one day the wife gets a conscience. Guys, this is just an example, okay? I'm not saying it's this example or, wives versus husband, okay? And then one day the wife gets a conscience and goes, oh, wait a minute. we're maybe 15, 20 years to retirement, or we're 10 years towards the kids going to college. How's the money all looking? And then all of a sudden, the wife decides she's going to care. This is just an example. Okay. So we don't know if that's the type of scenario. And this is why we can never fully blame just the side that, can't defend themselves, so to speak.
It's just kind of banging my head on a wall, and I don't know how to protect myself, how to protect my son.
Pull credit reports. That's the first thing you do. And she said, my son. I'm assuming this is their mutual child. I'm assuming like they had the child together. It's not like a stepson, but it wouldn't matter.
The only good news is that I do have a 401k that is in my name from before we were married, and then we also have I have a little bit of savings, and then he does have a life insurance policy. God forbid anything happens, but he's not well mentally, and he's been threatening a lot of things. And
did you get that, family? He's not well mentally. Why is someone who is, which I am sorry to hear about that, okay? But why is someone who is not well mentally being left in charge of the finances? If someone is not well mentally, does it surprise you that they blow up? Perhaps a little too easily when it comes to dealing with the finances. The most well person mentally can have a hard time dealing with the finances, much less put someone who's unwell in charge of the finances. It almost sounds to me like she might be a little bit afraid of him. Okay? If she knows without a doubt that he is unwell mentally, and she said he's not well mentally, her words, not mine, okay? He should not be in charge of the finances. And certainly if we're talking mixing business with personal, I'd like to know more about her home business. Is that the business that's being, I think that's what she was saying, it's being mixed with the personal? This is an IRS nightmare. Absolute nightmare. The only bill I would say is worse than the student loan, and I think on the Ramsey show they've proven it too. They've shown it to be also true. It's owing the IRS. And if you are mixing personal with business, not only can there be penalties for doing that, depending upon how long it's been going on, God help you if they try to do an audit. Oh, sweet Jesus. Like I said, that's why I don't want to deal with the home business. Sorry. I know there are very successful home businesses. I'm just not interested in being part of that relationship.
I thought I should try and get some advice.
Are you thinking about walking away from this?
Well, she can walk away, but she's first going to have to deal with that. What is it? $209,000 in credit card debt. Jesus Christ, that's a lot of money. That's in credit card debt, family. Plus the $21,000. Okay. Plus the $21,000 approximately. I think she said for a car. Okay. The mortgage, I didn't think the mortgage was unreasonable. I think she said, well, we don't know about the mortgage specifically, but she said the house was like $243 owed on a house. That's not, that's certainly in line. No biggie there.
At this point, I really can't right now.
Exactly. Then I kind of say that, do I deserve snaps for that? Because I said, we've got all this debt to deal with. Should I give myself snaps for that? I think I should. Yay me. Yay me.
I can't right now. My business is here on the property. And if I would leave, the other thing is I would be taking my autistic child away from the only home he knows, that he's had his whole life, his dogs, his everything that's comfort to him.
And your husband's not open. Is he? I'm guessing based on what you said.
I think he knows that he's in the toilet. I think he realizes. I mean, he's paying the minimums on the credit cards. That's it.
If he's paying, okay, we're gonna take it back to kind of reminding me of the dog and what is it, the horse show with Equestrian, okay, that just ran the other day. If I remember, I will link it at the end. Link horse at the end, okay? It literally just ran like 2-3 nights ago. I think it was like maybe even last night. Well, now about 2 nights ago. Okay. if he's only paying the minimum on these bills, we need to find out how much income does she make and how much income does he make. In other words, is it the minimum between two people earning an income, or is he not earning an income and it's just her income? So I hope we get to find out about that.
And where's the revenue of your business going, Ann? What account is that going into?
Exactly.
It's going in with everything else. I don't make much.
Okay.
Last year
When she says she don't make much, people, please don't tell me it's a hobby. Please don't tell me it is a hobby. Something being I had a very brief stint into self-employment with my cupcake business, and then I decided just to turn it into a hobby. It was just easier. Guys, a lot of people that have so-called home businesses, they're really hobbies. If the home business cannot completely function on the bills all on its own, okay, you have a home business, okay, and people will say, oh, but I have a, remember, I've been there, done this, folks, okay? People will say, oh, I have a home business. The problem, and I said it in the other show dealing with the home business of, racing horses, all right? The problem is a lot of people with home businesses need the other person to help prop up the business in both direct and or indirect ways, okay? Like in the video we did the video I did like 2 nights ago on the home business of the Olympian horse racer who her husband said broke zero and he was about killing himself trying to keep up on all the bills as her home business was racing horses. Well, he had to buy her a truck to pull her horse. Okay, he had to buy her I think it was like a $16,000 truck. He had to buy so she could pull her horses for her business. That is not a profitable business. If you have a home business and it makes money, then every single need of the business should be made by the business and the profit given towards the house, the residence, okay, for you and your spouse or you alone, whomever, okay, whoever's in the household to live on. But unfortunately, a lot of home businesses, and people like to come short of brag and go, they have a home business. And my first thought is, okay, and if your spouse walked out today, okay, do you have everything you need to not only run the business, but help, set you up for living? And if the answer to that is no, you're not running a profitable business. And this is the issue that I have with a lot of home businesses. They're really hobbies. If it turns out that hers is a hobby, folks, we're right back to where we were. I think it was Monday. I think it was Tuesday night show we did that. Monday or Tuesday, right around there. Well, actually, it wasn't last night, so that was a different story.
I had it written down here last year.
Hey, do you suspect that there could be IRS debt as well? Because when you tell me that all the business bills and all the personal bills and everything's together, that sounds like a mess.
Did I not say that, family? I said that. I'd give myself snaps when I'm kind of tired, so I don't want to do as much editing tonight.
I don't. I think he's pretty OCD about keeping track of stuff.
No, he's not OCD about keeping track of stuff. No way, no way. If you're mixing the business items with the personal items, there's no way you are OCD. An OCD person would have it completely separated. I was OCD on it. I made sure that when I had it under my Kate business name, okay, which actually still exists, all right? I actually still have the cake business name. I just operate as a hobby. But when it was under quote unquote business, oh my God, all my accounts were separate. I was completely OCD. I was even worried about going on Amazon and accidentally paying for something. Oh my God, it was supposed to be paid for under personal. I accidentally stuck it under business or vice versa. That's how OCD careful I was with it. So no, he's not OCD in being careful, or this situation would never happen. He's actually very careless, and he's showing a lack of business common sense.
Okay.
Last year's gross income was 233, but then by the time we got to the bottom of the income is 26,000.
What?
Once he takes off depreciation,
What type of-
vehicles, all that kind
what
of
type
stuff.
Wait. I got to hear that again. Hold on, family. Hold on.
Stuff.
Okay.
Last year's gross income was 233.
Okay, last year's gross, this was going fast. 233K is what they grossed last year. So that's before taxes.
But then by the time we got to the bottom of the income is 26,000.
You have got to be kidding me. Holy cow. You're telling me, everybody knows I have my little notepad, just like Jade has her notepad. You're telling me the gross is damn near short of $250,000, but your actual take-home pay is $26,000? Which means if there are two of you, you've each made $15,000 a year. Take home. Wow, that's a head spinner. That is an absolute head spinner. Her business is not making money. I can now pretty much guarantee it to you. And whatever he's doing, he's not making money. So between these two adults, after all business profit and loss, they each basically made, they made less than 15,000 each. They made like 13,500 each. Holy cow.
Once he takes off depreciation, vehicles, all that kind of stuff.
What type of business does he have?
He's an electrical contractor.
Well, I'm thinking he's not a very good one.
So he's making 26,000 a year. He's paying himself 26,000.
Technically, yeah, and it's just him. He doesn't have employees.
Well, where's her money? Where's her business money? If her business money is mixed into all this, you know, children, you just never know what's going to happen during bedtime chit-chat story time. Wow. Where's her money?
And what about you?
I'm telling you, I've been kicking it this week on bedtime chit-chat story time. I have been kicking it, family.
It's just myself.
And what do you bring in? What's your payment from your business?
I'm lucky if I bring 10,000 or less.
So you guys combined are living off of 36,000, and you've got the 21,000 in card debt, and how much in credit cards? 206?
209.
209. Okay. And
I was listening. It was 209. I was listening.
And is there anything else that you think might be out there?
At least she makes 10,000. Okay. So she makes 10,000 on a good year. She said, guys, 10,000. She's not even pulling in $1,000 a month. I mean, at least she's, what is like 800 or so, right? 800, right around there. All right. Wow. Yes. Again, this is why I prefer to be with someone who has a W-2 job. This is why. Okay? All this time she spent on a business that's bringing in maybe $700-800, $100 a week, maybe $150 a week if she's lucky. A W-2 job with more of a career, she could be bringing in, 50,000. I stand by my opinion of home business. Now, I am not saying, I just want to make sure people don't hang up the phone thinking, oh my God, Carrie hates all home businesses. No, I don't. I dislike home businesses that don't recognize the difference between a home business that is successful and actually contributes towards the family versus a hobby. It's people who are in denial about, is it really a business or is it a hobby? And if it's a business, is $800 a month really contributing to the needs of the family? Or are you better off perhaps getting a W-2 job and having a more established career where you're bringing in $3,000-4,000 a month? And I understand she has an autistic child, and that probably has some special needs. Not probably, it does. It has special needs. But the bottom line is you've got two adults, okay, at 36,000. Okay, where they making 18,000 each? 18.5, right around there. $18,000 each.
Not including the mortgage.
No, and of that 209, 40K is his just for his business. But of course, I'm pretty sure I'm liable for that as well.
Yeah, you would be liable. Yes. Yeah. This is, well, she says his business, but she's got a business too, and it ain't doing much better. Yeah, at least her business, like I said, neither one of them are in great shape. This is the income one person would have if they had, a regular W-2 job. Look, here's the bottom line. Not everybody is designed to be a home business expert. Okay? Not every people just really aren't all cut out for it. I think fewer people are actually designed to have a home business than what people think. It's just, we go to social media, we go to the internet, and it sounds like everybody can be successful at real estate. Everybody can be successful at flipping, property, cars, whatever. Okay? Everybody can be successful because, after all, be your own boss, have a home business. It sounds so simple, but in reality, it's so much more complicated.
But everything
Right, of
else.
course.
And so is he using these credit cards to keep you guys afloat just month to month?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And when you
He's using the credit cards to keep them afloat. Okay, but before she starts wrapping all of this on him, isn't she also at fault too, family? Is she not at fault also? I'm going to have to back up here a little bit. I'm thinking, oh man, this is, the mentally, unstable husband's fault. I'm thinking it's part of her fault too. Yeah, I'm kind of shifted. I'm going to say I'm kind of, I am. I have shifted towards, I think this is more of a joint fault. I don't think this is, initially it started out being, he's the guilty one, he's at fault, okay? And I'm slowly going back going, I think it might be he and she. All right, I'm thinking it's less of strictly one person. She says he's living, what is it? He's using the credit cards to pay all the bills, and I'm assuming he's not paying off the monthly bill every month. But is she benefiting from it? Okay. Has she been able to look at her business and go, I really need to make more than $700 a month if I'm going to try to help my family. I need a full-time W-2 job.
said he's not mentally well, do you mind going into a little bit more detail on that?
I mean, there's increased alcohol. Just
Okay.
You can tell there's depression,
Yep.
upset.
Well, yeah, being financially, what is it? Being in financial difficulties, financial trouble. Yeah, that increases your depression, without a doubt. It increases your depression, and so he's using alcohol. It's like a vicious cycle. Okay, you're depressed because of your finances, so you go to alcohol, I assume, to make you feel better, and it just becomes this vicious cycle.
We'll even mention the debt. We'll mention, my wife told me that we're this much in debt, and she must be full of it. I don't believe it. And he'll say this in front of his best friends, and it's like, oh my God, now he's like sharing it with folks.
Oh, heck, I've shared my debt history with the internet, so it's okay, Ann. You're not alone. Although I don't think it's appropriate to share the debt of your spouse without your spouse's consent.
But I think he's embarrassed. I think he doesn't know what to do.
Yeah,
And
I do too.
Yep.
And alcohol sure as heck isn't going to improve anything.
So I think, and it just sounds like my first protection is for you, and the fact that you don't have any access to anything, Ann. I mean, there could be a whole other life he's living, right? I mean, on different levels, on different scales, financially not. I'm like, you have no clue what's really going on.
Mm-hmm.
But what I have to question is how long has she not had access and never questioned it? Once again, just like the other video, okay, how long, there was one we did where the wife didn't have access to the account. It's been a very, very busy video week this week. This week and last week have been very busy, all right, on the bedtime Chit-Chat Storytime channel. But I kind of wonder, just like I did with the other video, what changed in the relationship to cause her to now become interested? She's been married for 19 years. All right. She all of a sudden became interested. What changed? What changed in the relationship? Because apparently she was fine with it all these years.
Because the money is kind of the paper trail to a degree on life, and being able to see that, and you have no access to that, which is a hard line I draw. You have to be able to have access and have everything visual that you see. I mean, it's
Remember, that's what it was on the other video, family. Okay. The wife made the money. Literally, she made six figures, like 110 or so. The husband controlled the money. She never saw the paycheck. Like, she didn't even know how to access her own money. She had nothing. This is very similar to that.
It's one thing if you're like, oh my gosh, she's a spender, I'm a saver, I don't know what to do. It's a whole other thing. And you cross another line into another level of seriousness when you don't have the ability to access your money.
But was there, in defense of the husband, okay? It's not like she didn't just have access to this overnight. How long has she not had access? And did she initially give permission not to have access? Not saying it's a good idea, but did she at one time say, oh, honey, you take care of it. I don't need to deal with the passwords and stuff. If I need into it, I'll just ask you. Not saying that that's what I recommend, but again, we're throwing all the tea on the husband, and I'm not sure it's that one-sided.
Mm-hmm. Hey, so this is it's a more serious weight there that I hold now in this conversation, that creates more ultimatums. And I hear you say, like, I can't leave, all of that, but what I would do is that there's other ultimatums in this marriage that has to change, because you're not safe at that point, right?
Right.
How'd you find out about the 209? Just curious. Did he
Probably
tell you, or you discovered it?
Oh, he did not tell me. I discovered it. I started going through his files.
Okay.
And I made
So something happened that made her want to go through it. Something in you know what I'm saying? You didn't just wake up one day and go, oh my God, I need to go through my husband's files. Something has happened over time. And it may not be something that, is easily identifiable. I'm going to bet that most of the time you can't easily identify it. But it's just a shift. There's a change there.
the biggest Excel spreadsheet you'd ever want to see in your life. And I just, tried talking to him, and, we were okay there for a while. Oh, I'm paying it down. And then, once a year I'd pull these files again. And
once a year? They should be pulled every 2 weeks. They should be pulled every payday. Minimum every month. Why are people pulling stuff once a year? Oh, heck, that I have some bills I look at every week just to make sure they be on top of it.
And get everything sorted. And I did it again this year. And I said, he's to the point now where everything is minimum.
So in 2 years, she's only looked at the bills twice. In 2 years, do we see where the problem is? Do you see why we can't blame this 100% on the husband? And for all we know, maybe she's not been approachable. Maybe she scares the bejesus out of him. Just saying.
Yeah, for me, this falls into what I would call a level of financial abuse and infidelity.
Okay, I think we're jumping to that. I think we're jumping to it. Okay, to just say this is full-blown financial abuse and infidelity. There may be red flags of it, but I'm not ready to just jump full-blown, because here's why. To saying that it's all abusive. She wasn't so concerned a year ago when she looked at it that she thought to herself, I only look at these bills once a year. Perhaps I need to look at it every month. She herself was laxy-daisy on it, that she didn't feel the need to look at it. Could you imagine only looking at your bill once a year? Once a year? That's it? Unacceptable. So does she hold some responsibility there? Can she totally throw the hot water on her husband and say, yep, it's all him? Why wasn't she concerned a year ago? Matter of fact, during the 19 years they've been married, has she ever looked at it? In other words, did she just wash her hands of taking care of the financial responsibility? She became in love with her business that's only earning about $150 a week. All right. I mean, let's get real here. And I think that's like on a good month. In other words, I'm going to link the video. We did it just the other night, family. All right. I'm going to link the one where the wife had no access to the money and 20 years has passed and now she's concerned about it. I try hard to remember. Sometimes I do forget, but I'll try to remember to link that at the end. So has Miss Ann basically stuck her head in the sand, okay, focusing on her home business and all of that. And I understand her child, but even having an autistic child is not, okay, I don't want to speak out of turn here, but I think people would kind of say, that's not an excuse to not be financially careful. In fact, if you have a special needs child, that is all the more reason to be financially responsible, to make sure the needs of that child are met, because they may be longer than just simply past the age of 18 as is standard. Right? So I'm not so quick to just say that this is all the husband's fault. You mean to tell me this woman who only makes about $700 a year on her business, okay, wasn't so concerned all the past years to even look at the finances? Doesn't she hold some accountability in that? And my answer to that is a resounding yes.
Because he's keeping everything on his side. He's making moves without sharing them with you, and they're at the detriment to you and your family and your son.
And she waited till it was at detrimental point also. Like she said, she looked at it a year ago and then didn't look at it again. So who's really to blame? Don't they have joint accountability? I say yes.
And I would push back on the fact that there's nowhere for you to go. There's always an option.
There's always an option, but you may not like it. And you may have to do some penance to get through it. It is what it is.
But I can guarantee you this, it is not going to be a comfortable option. There's going to be no piece of it that feels comfortable or easy or right. You know what I'm saying? So
that's what I was saying. Like I said, I do confetti snaps, but it is Wednesday and I'm kind of tired. So we're going to cut down the confetti tonight.
I do think that you have to give yourself an ultimatum, and you need to say, all right, what am I going to do? What are my limits? What are my boundaries? And what is my time frame?
Let's also think about this, family. As much as everybody wants to pour the tea on the husband, did she not financially benefit from sticking her head in the sand herself? Because I'm convinced at this point, no doubt, she stuck her head in the sand for many years. Okay, when she says basically in 2 years, I looked at it last year and then I waited a year and I looked at it again, that's the most interest you had? So perhaps she is partly responsible for going, I don't really want to know. I don't want to know. Don't tell me about the money. I just want to work on my hobby. Okay, technically it is a business that makes $700 a month. But the problem is, again, and you've heard me say this, family, it should be a business that makes substantial money, that makes enough that it really contributes to the household significantly. And, to me, a little $700 side gig is great when, one person is making, is able to make a really high income. They're doing real well. And the little extra 700 just comes in and maybe it helps, pad in some daycare costs or something. But in this case, you're basically talking two broke people. Okay. They're basically each making $18K take home a year. That sucks with a kid with special needs. So, yes, she does make a profit on her business. The profit is not so substantial that I think it warrants her not going out and getting a W-2 job and perhaps trying to find, a 40, 50, heck, even a $30,000 a year job. But I don't know what her skills are. But still, it's got to pay more than $700 a month. So I have to say that my instinct is she's only become interested in it now, in the finances now, because something has shifted in the relationship. Perhaps his drinking has increased, whatever. But why was she not interested in the finances before?
For me to, and what is an indicator that this is moving forward or that it's staying the same? Like, does that make sense? You have to have something very real and very measurable for this situation.
Which is true. But as you've heard me say before, you need to be able to follow through on what you say you're going to do. Do not make ultimatums that you cannot fulfill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So whether that's I'm going to offer counseling and I'm going to give him 60 days to agree to it, or I'm going to...
And if you say, I'm out of here, have you made arrangements where you're going to go? Just like I've said in other videos. You say, Alfred, if this problem isn't solved in 30 days, I'm out of here and I'm taking the kids to Aunt Margot's. Okay, does Aunt Margot... That's actually my aunt. Sorry about that, Aunt Margot. Does Aunt Margot know you're coming? Does Aunt Margot know you're bringing the kids? Does Aunt Margot have a room for you? In other words, don't make a threat to go someplace if you don't know where that someplace is and you haven't already made arrangements with someone to stay there and how long you're going to stay there and who are you bringing? Animals, pets. Okay? It's really got to be thought out.
Ask him for these account passwords, and I'm going to ask him for, complete transparency, and I'm going to give him 45 days to wrestle with that and get to that point. You've just got to make it very clear, write it down on paper. If you have a friend, get a friend. If you have a pastor, find a pastor, but you need somebody who knows. Does anybody else know this is going on besides us two girls on the radio?
And the rest of the internet world. Just saying.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, a few friends, close friends, and family members.
And what are they?
Oh, trust me, more people know. Trust me. It's people. Oh, those are the only people that know. No, you can always count. The more people know, they're just gonna be polite, and not say anything.
They suggesting? What are they saying? Since they know the situation even more.
And they know him, and they know he's not right. He's
Okay, but he not right or is right. She still has responsibility towards this situation. I don't care if the split is 80-20. She still has some responsibility. And I'm telling you, okay? Her business, she needs to let it go and get a real job. Especially if she's thinking of leaving and going to Aunt Margot's.
I married the 37-year-old man who was set in his ways, and unfortunately, he is a collector. And that's where the money has gone. He collects things, and to the point I said, can we sell some stuff?
So is he hoarding too? Like, are you in that sort of a situation?
No.
Okay.
No, it's just enormous collections of things that are really our only hope. These assets that could help us get out.
What is it that he collects other than broken hearts?
From under this, but he's not willing to touch. I'm not selling any of my stuff, he says.
Because that collection is part of his identity. And there's nothing wrong with collections, okay? But when it starts to financially hurt the couple or the individual person, okay? Well, we'll just say the household, whether it's a household of 1 or 10, okay? When that collection financially hurts the household, or becomes a physical risk to the household. There's so much of it, you can't walk around. Even though you can afford it, there's so much of it. Anybody who knows me knows I love bed sheets. I own about 30 comforters. They sit in a air-controlled indoor locker, and they are meticulously maintained because they're like, those $500-$600 comforters when they go on sale for I'd say about $100-$150. Okay, these are very expensive comforters. I absolutely love them. They are my collection. All right. They are a part of me. I have reasons why I have them. Part of it is when I was growing up, I had such a hard time sleeping at night. I had night terrors, really, really bad night terrors. I mean, the type that you crawl in bed with mom and dad, doesn't matter if you're in high school. Okay. I mean, I've had night terrors most of my life. And, I just kind of vowed that one day when I got older, I was going to make sure I didn't have night terrors. I still do suffer from them. So I have to actually sleep on my side. If I fall asleep on my back, it gets kind of complicated, but it's a sleep disorder. But I get night terrors if I lie on my back and I fall asleep that way. Don't want to get too deep into it, but if I have to fall asleep on my side. But, and of course it got really, really bad after my parents passed away, because, that's traumatic, and it's just how I responded to it. And one of the reasons I have so many comforters is they're incredibly comforting, no pun intended, to me. And so if someone said to me, get rid of your comforters, you're literally stripping me, not so much of my identity, but you're stripping me of something that is mentally comforting to me. Fortunately for me, I've always had financial control of it, and I started collecting it once I got my condo, and I have a storage unit, probably runs me, I think, about $60 a month. I have 30 comforters in there. They're gorgeous. They're beautiful. They're meticulously maintained. They bring me great peace and comfort, when I go to sleep at night. Yeah. It is what it is, but that's the reason a lot of people with collectibles don't want to sell things. You don't know the psychology behind why they want to keep it. And so if you take it and you just strip it of them, if somebody were to walk into my storage unit and just throw away my comforters, they were just, this is just crap, we don't need it. And they were to literally take my comforters and just, throw them away. Forget the fact that there's probably about $10,000 in comforters sitting in there, which I did not spend $10,000 on. It's probably closer to $15,000 in comforters, to be totally honest. You got to figure about a 5-year supply. Okay. And these are the Macy high-end ones. Okay. These are not Walmart and Target. Nothing wrong with those. But they're not collectibles. But the Macy's high-end comforters are very much, you can collect them. But if somebody were to come in and just throw it away, forget the money that I would have lost collecting them, even though I got them at a great discount, because I'm smart. Okay. I'm not going to pay full price. They must be 65% off or higher. All right. But that's not the reason I would end a relationship. I would end the relationship because what they did was they threw away something that helps me survive. That gives me peace of mind, that helps me through, sleep disorders at night and stuff like that. That helps me. And so I always told myself that when I became, when I got older and when I, had the money, that I would make my bed just one of the most, gorgeous places to sleep at night. And it is from the headboard to the, upscale mattress. My bed's probably about $5,000. Okay. But, and my few friends that know about it, that have been to my place, they understand why I have it. Okay. I'll let everything else around me go. Not literally, but that $5,000 bed with the mattress not getting touched, and the 30 comforters that go with it, not getting touched. So I think if you talk to people who have collections, there's a story behind why they collect what they collect. And I think the story is usually deeper than what people think. It's not just, we just want to collect it.
Like, oh, that's great. Because years ago he would sell a stamp collection, or he would sell some other collection.
So you're just seeing a deterioration.
Yeah. So Anne, I would.
All right, folks, I think we get the gist of it. Sorry about that kind of long-winded comforter thing. But, I think a lot of it is, if we are going to fix our finances, and if we're going to be involved with people who, we're going to involve our finances with other people, we have to know the psychology behind why people do what they do with their money, why they spend the money the way they do. It's so, what's the word? It's too simple to just look at someone. I'll use myself as an example, okay? Because to me, that's a good way to do it. It's too simple to just look and say, Carrie has 30 comforters. Okay. And they sit in a 10 by 5 locker. Okay. Carrie has 30 comforters. That's too simple. All right. It's too simple to look at somebody and go, well, they have a stamp collection. Right. You have to know why is it that they do what they do. Because if you can tap in as to why people do what they do with their money, then when there's a problem, you can better fix it. So if you use me as an example, let's say, I was married to someone and, we have, I have all these comforters. Okay. And they understand why I collect the comforters, but let's just hypothetically say, okay, it was also causing a financial distress. Okay. Because they would understand, because that person would understand, let's just say it's my spouse, because my spouse would understand why I collect these comforters, because he understands the psychology behind it, now he knows how to go around it in a way that will get what he needs done with the budget, but at the same time fulfill my needs. So he could look at it and go, Carrie, we have 40 comforters. Oh, and don't worry, I'm probably about five comforters away from that. Okay. Carrie, we have 40 comforters. We can't afford them. Now, again, I'm giving you a hypothetical. I really do own all these comforters. All right. But I can afford them. All right. So Carrie, we have 40 comforters. We really can't afford to have any more. I know how much you love them. So let's do this. How about if we just lower the comforters to say, maybe, could you do it maybe 3 times a year? I'd be okay. No, and we'll find a place to put the ones you currently have. Okay. We're not going to let any of those go. You see the difference versus just, oh my God, she's got a locker of comfort. Somebody get this crap out of here. You see, when you understand how someone thinks financially, when you understand why they do what they do financially, then you will have an easier time approaching them, especially if it's a relationship, boyfriend, girlfriend, spouse, whatever. Okay. Then you have a better chance, in my opinion, of approaching them in a way that doesn't offend them, that will not turn off the conversation of let's talk about money, but at the same time, get your needs filled as well. And I think too often when people talk about money, all they do, okay, it's like throwing the baby out with the bathwater. They're looking for the fastest result. And something I have learned about money is, to understand money and to understand why people do what they do with money. It's, what is it they say? It is a, what is it? They say it's a marathon. It's not a fast race. I think that's what it is. Okay. It's a slow process to understand why people do what they do with money. But man, when you understand it and when you respect each other as to why you spend money the way you do, I think it goes for much more agreeable conversations when something needs to be solved. And I think, family, what we see so much of in these call after call after call, and this Wednesday evening is no exception. Remember, this just played 8 hours ago this afternoon, okay? What we see so often is we see somebody who wants to fix the dollar bill, but they, we're short in our account. We owe $200,000 on a credit card. We owe $20,000 on a car. I think that's what she said. But what we're missing is the psychological component. Okay, that's what we're missing. So when the two people try to talk about money, they can't. It would be like someone trying to talk to me about my comforters, again, pretending I could not afford it, and just coming at me with, you got to get rid of these dang comforters. Well, that's not going to solve the problem. But when you understand why I have these comforters, you understand the psychological, thinking behind it, the history. Oh my gosh, this goes back to childhood. This is deep. When you take the time to understand that about your partner, and when you respect that about your partner, you respect maybe the sensitivities or the, troubled background that your partner has had, now you can talk to each other with respect. Right? And now you can have a meeting of the minds when it comes to money, or at least that's the goal.